I'm your host, Local23. You're joining me for the Academy, Chapter 12. You play as Professor Linden. You sit in your office before your first class of the day. You should be reviewing your notes, but instead you're replaying the confrontation between the boys in your head, trying to figure out how to work it to your advantage. I rarely question myself. I rarely have reason to. But there have been moments when I question Anton's value. I don't doubt his potential as a fine addition to our family one day, but the characteristic I appreciate the most, the ease with which he can be manipulated, causes me great frustration. Of course, I saw him challenge Peter in the dining hall. I neither know nor care about the cause, but it could have been derailing my plans for both of them. I'm sure it's connected to that damned girl. Anton's obsession with Sophie impairs his judgment, time and time again. Your phone vibrates with a text message from Browning you've been waiting for since you saw page 6. Please meet me in the office at 10 a.m. for Peter Foster mediation. The photo itself you find unremarkable. The fact that the Academy is mentioned in the caption is far greater transgression. While the students regularly make headlines, the school itself always remains in the shadows. Well done, Anton. Thanks to my tireless work, you restrained your physical impulses and posted a revenge photo instead. The move has implications maybe Anton never intended, but that I nonetheless appreciate. Not only does Browning face the wrath from those above, she now has to deal with real-world consequences as well. I'm quite confident she has suffered a barrage of blistering emails from the alumni that should keep her out of my business for a while. He approached Dr. Browning's office, where Miss Rizzo waits patiently with Peter. Peter looks like a scared rabbit. Then Miss Rizzo... Rizzuolo? An emotional, high-strung, and intellectually low-wattage teacher looks so smug. You'd think she set the trap. Good morning, Professor Linden. Oh, it is. He nodded at her and then at Peter, who quickly looks down at the floor. Shame. How delicious. You'd like to make a meal of it. It's such a rare thing at the school. Dr. Browning is on a call. We are supposed to wait. You enter Dr. Browning's office and close the door behind you. Browning is indeed on the phone. She looks drawn and nervous. Yes, it was taken down within 15 minutes. She nods at you, then notices the smile around the edges of your mouth. She turns away in irritation. Professor Linden and I are on the top of it. Thank you for your concern, but things are well in hand. She hangs up and stares at you. Tell me this wasn't your doing. My dear Charlotte, I have spent the better part of my morning making sure there's no record of that photo on the internet. Why? Browning's eyes bore into you, demanding clarity. I decide to... parry. How do you know it wasn't Peter who posted it? Testing the waters, building a rebellious reputation, fit in. It's the content of the photo that concerns me. The posting is a secondary issue. Are you going to try and convince me that Peter also took the photo? Well, you know Rizzo will push for expulsion. Or suspension at the very least. And you can't argue Foster doesn't deserve it. Browning nods crisply. You're dismayed to see she's not as stressed as you'd hoped. So either you help him, or stay out of my way and I will. I see. No reason why I should be obligated to help anyone here. You have as much to lose as I do. Maybe not quite as much, but too much nonetheless. Besides, best to prevent Peter feeling indebted to her. Fine, follow my lead. She has no time to argue or disagree before the door opens, and Miss Rizzuolo ushers Peter in. You did say 10 a.m. sharp. It's just that my classes start soon, and... Browning nods at Miss Rizzuolo and takes a seat at the desk. The room is still for a moment, everyone stares at Peter. I don't know how that picture got posted at page 6. You're not being blamed for that. But it's clearly a picture of you, and you do appear intoxicated. Peter looks as if he's about to be sick. Not for a paternal tone. I know you're new here, but that behavior violates the rules of the Academy, not to mention state law, which I'm sure you know. I'm afraid we can't have that. You must appreciate our disappointment. Personal responsibility and consequences are the cornerstone of character development. I know, but this whole thing, I don't even know how it happened. That's because you were, as they say in the finest circles, blotto. However, thanks to my connections, the photo has already been removed from the internet. Peter looks over at you with relief and gratitude. Browning notes this and acts swiftly. Peter, please wait outside while my colleagues and I make a decision. Peter glances around in pain, clearly wanting to say more. He thinks the better of it and leaves. The moment the door shuts, Rizzullo jumps in, and as she knew she would. She's is this semester's acting school board advocate and delights in any bit of power. Suspension would send a valuable message, especially this year in the school year. Her whiny voice grates your nerves. Worse, she lacks any understanding of the larger agenda. She's a nuisance. But I just might be able to make her a useful one. The appropriate punishment will remind the students who's in charge here, and prevent other issues later on. Browning turns to you with a questioning look. I couldn't agree with you more, Miss Rizzullo. Browning's eyes widen slightly. She hides a pleased smile and emboldened by your praise and presses on. I mean, he's obviously drunk, right? The photo is clearly glamorizing underage drinking. So our purpose here today is to decide his punishment for both his action and his intention. What a twit. Quite frankly, a literal interpretation would require expulsion. Browning's mouth opens, she shuts it again. Even Rizzullo looks surprised. Browning looks directly at you and speaks slowly, her tone dry. Really? Then I'm to recommend expulsion of the board. You both agree? Miss Rizzullo starts to say something, but reconsiders. She looks to you for guidance now. I'm sure she's wondering how this meeting got away from her. I imagine her on a tiny bicycle. Backpedaling, I mustn't smile. Actually, I was kind of imagining her on a little bicycle on the high wire in the middle of the circles. Then everything starts tilting and she's going backwards now and she has no control. The silence stretches. Enough of this. I have work to do and a cup of tea cooling in my office. I must save the boy from punishment. And I need Browning's help to do it. Miss Rizzullo has to think it was all her idea. I will let the chips fall where they may. I'll stand by in silence, while these two flail about in incompetence. Let them make a mess of this whole ordeal. Maybe they'll appreciate my skills a bit more. Miss Rizzullo's voice is softer, tempered with a measure of uncertainty. So he's going to be expelled? We must be compassionate. And we will all agree that granting someone like Peter Foster false hope is quite cruel. False hope? Rizzullo fastens onto this phrase, as you knew she would, and instantly Dr. Browning catches on to the game. You were right. I'll admit it. It only took you a couple centuries to get the hang of this, Doctor. Browning sighs heavily as if a huge weight has been lifted from her. Admit what? Oh, good Lord, woman, don't overdo it. Just yesterday, Professor Linden was telling me how surprised he was someone from Peter's background lasted this long. His background? You showed Browning what you mean to be a pointed look to help her sell this manipulation. That was a private conversation. But since it's just us, I'm glad you brought it up. Frankness will save us from the preposterous exercise of going through the motions. Rizzullo fancies herself a crusader against injustice, as if injustice were merely a street protest away, and the world could ever be truly just that. Nana should. She's so wound up now, it looks as if her hair is about to spring right off her head. I think Professor Linden is referring to the near impossible challenges Peter faces at the Academy. Naturally, I know political correctness demands we ignore certain realities, but telling the truth should never be discouraged, right? Should it, Miss Rizzullo? And the truth is that someone with Peter's limited means never stood a chance here. Maybe one day, but not today. To pretend otherwise is foolish. Miss Rizzullo's body tenses. There it is. She has become my unwitting ally. Despite her current confusion, I have no doubt she'll side with Peter, whom she just tried to suspend. He's a very respectful young man. He turns his work in on time, and we've already wasted much time. In the larger picture, it does serve our school's mission to deprive the other students of our attention for the advantage of one. Miss Frizzolo looks deeply puzzled. Our energy should be expended on behalf of those who show real potential. Anton Volsky, for example. As Frizzolo reacts to Anton's name, she clearly can't stand him. You make your final thrust. Volsky has a real chance to succeed here, as opposed to a charity case with limited potential. I bet Foster's mother even clips coupons. That is low! That is low. Because, damn it, even I clip coupons. I kinda have to. Frizzolo is mortally wounded. A charity case. She rises from her seat, pale with anger. Dr. Browning, I would like to withdraw my complaint and request leniency for Peter. You would? Clever. Dr. Browning's surprise is genuine. Well, it's his first infraction, and he's had some difficulty adapting. That was almost too easy. I see. So, if she's just, like, one of the teachers, why is she here? Like, why is this such a big deal? Shouldn't it be, like, a majority of the staff or something? Or, like, why was it even hers to have any, like, empowerment with? I don't understand. I don't... Can someone explain this to me? When Rizzolo turns her back to gaze towards where Peter awaits judgment in the hall, you raise your eyebrow to Browning. She has the nerve to wink in return. Very well. I will let this go on your recommendation, Miss Rizzolo. Noted as such. Please inform Peter that his probation period has ended. There will be no more chances. Miss Rizzolo nods gratefully, tosses you a contemptuous glare, and marches out the door. Dr. Browning looks at you a moment, a rare smile playing across her lips. Now's the perfect time to press my advantage. I draw her attention to my success. There, I accomplished everything you wanted. And I did more smoothly than you could have hoped. She looks at you half smiling, as if waiting for a punchline, or as if she knows exactly what you're up to. I'll expect a greater measure of cooperation from you in the future. She bats aside your power play without a second thought. I bet his mother clips coupons? Come on! Come on! You nod at the door, through which Miss Rizzolo departed. She does it every Wednesday in the break room, like clockwork. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a lecture to prepare. You clever old man, goddamn. You leave the room with a bounce in your step, but you won't be planning a class. Rather, you'll be preparing for something much more important. I knew Peter Foster was useful, in which I set up my strategy the way I did. But now I'm realizing just how valuable he is, which means I have additional work to do. Mr. Foster must be handled with extreme caution while ensuring he is moving in the proper direction. Fortunately, I have many avenues at my discretion. Human nature hasn't changed much over the centuries. One must merely know how to exploit it, and never shy away from doing so. You stand before dozens of rap students. You have given this talk 1,000 times. So, no one can tell you when your mind wanders. Only the faces in the lecture hall change. And I am pleased to say those of the recent generations are increasingly vacuous and curious. Today's young people care nothing more but themselves, despite their posturing. They have no understanding of the blood, sweat, and tears of the untold generations before them. They seek only to tear down what generations built, even as they mindlessly enjoy the fruits of those institutions. It's true. The thought fills you with optimism. You can use these impulses to your advantage. Spot Peter in the sea of faces, the only one actively listening to your lecture. He is clearly an exception, driven and intellectually alive. How interesting. You stop, the sight of Peter is giving you an idea. You'll take a detour. Teaching history enables you to touch on different topics than other professors. You can incorporate literature, science, psychology, so you decide to veer into the world of dreams and their impact on human development. Elias Howe patented his sewing machine in 1846. How did he come up with this idea? In a dream. It's true. A dream. Peter leans forward, interested. He dreamed he was being forced, under penalty of death, by a savage king in a foreign land to invent a machine that stitched faster than any human could. The dream gave him the idea of where to put the needle's eye. He leapt out of bed, completed his invention, changing the world and eventually earning millions. That's a Peter. He's paying close attention, which is good, because this is all coded message for him. Are dreams merely subconscious expressions of desires or fears? Is it possible that they actually are messages from a greater force outside the human psyche? I trust you all will spend hours pondering that question before our next meeting. Dismissed. As anticipated, Peter approaches you on his way out of the classroom. You know exactly what he'll say, and what you'll tell him. He'll ask about the dreams. Hold on, coughing. I hate being sick. Help me. Someone send help. And the result you'll get. Professor, I just wanted to thank you, for being there for me today. You nod, accepting his gratitude, but saying nothing. You let him think he's indebted to you. I really appreciate it. Now ask what you came to ask, so we can get this party started. Oh man, I'm sorry. But Peter turns to leave. Wow, really? You didn't ask about the dream? You must get him to ask about his dream without him knowing you know it all. And quick, Linden. We call by asking him directly, Peter, you seem very engaged in my lecture, especially the part about how dreaming lives can propel us to new heights of achievement. I wonder if you've had any experience with that yourself. Maybe. The boy appears to wrestle with himself before blurting out his full answer. I guess so, yeah. You wait a beat, and then as if on cue, do you really think dreams can contain important messages? You move in for the kill. I have found, thanks to years of trial and error, that these messages are essentially calls to action. Calls to action? They mustn't be ignored. The boy is visibly perplexed. He probably wants to know what a man-eating tree in the middle of a forest could possibly be calling him to do. And for example, you dream you're underwater. You're trying to save someone who's drowning. You know what the right thing to do is, but you're frightened. What's the larger meaning, you wonder, knowing it could be different for each person? Right, there's so much to think about, but I don't know where to begin. My advice is to find the starting point, concentrate on that. A lake, a beach somewhere. I've learned that if you take the first steps with courage, the rest of the journey often takes care of itself. The boy nods with enthusiasm. He has heard you. Thank you, Professor. Have a good day. Oh, you're clever boy. Peter rushes towards the door. And Peter? The boy turns around. Try to stay out of trouble this time. I promise. And off he goes to dig into the things best left alone. My work for the day is done. So with that being said, hope you all did enjoy the video. Feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Head down description below, links to social media, our Discord, and a few links to support me and my content. Without further ado, oh man, what I'm planning on doing is finishing up, because this is chapter 12. We've got, as soon as this gem collection is done, we got chapter 13 to 13, and then we're done with the academy. Then what I'll probably do is I'll do Vampire Girl shortly thereafter. Probably, over the night, and then I'll post it first thing in the morning, to be honest. With that being said, once again, thank you, Javier, for making my evening awesome. And without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace.